Hey, welcome to this insider edition of the Upland Nation podcast. I'm Scott Linden. Glad you could join me. It's that time of year. We are counting the days to the opener, but we also ought to be getting our gear together. Yeah, we're going to make a deep dive into that, in particular one subject. Yeah, a 1-pound survival kit. Don't leave home without it. It's your opportunity to take care of yourself, maybe even your dog, and certainly other people around you if the need arises. Yeah, a pound of prevention. Certainly worth a lot more than the cure that will be required if you're not carrying it. This week, the Upland Nation Insider Edition is made possible by CableGangz Stakeout Systems. Also, Heartland Lodge, welcome aboard, Heartland Lodge in Nebo, Illinois. Also, Mid-Valley Clays and Shooting School, Trulock Choke Tubes, Purina Pro Plan Sport Dog Food, Sage and Breaker Gun Care Products, Roughland Dog Kennels, Pointer Shotguns, and High Vis Sights. Yeah, that ounce of prevention, the good old days, is worth a pound of cure. Unless you're going where we go when we're hunting birds, then you make it a pound of prevention with, well, kind of a simple DIY lightweight insurance policy in a bag. I don't want to stress this too little. If you don't carry something like this, you may die, or at least be really, really inconvenienced. Now, it doesn't take much to pack this little parcel to help you stay warm, dry, hydrated, rested, maybe help find your way out of a fix, help others find you, and like I said, possibly save a life, even yours. Okay, I got to confess, I'm a little bit of an OCD guy when it comes to this stuff and have been forever. When I was an assistant scout master, I was the guy. In fact, I even bought a a container, and then we put it together for every scout in our troop. That's how important it is to me. And believe me, call it whatever you want. Survival kit, 10 essentials, your miniature go bag. I call it a convenience kit because it takes kind of some of the ominousness out of it. All the terms are immaterial. What's important is that it's portable enough. You'll take it every time. There's nothing more embarrassing for a rugged, self-reliant, masculine outdoorsman than to be the subject of a news story about being lost, cold, wet, and bailed out by search and rescue. Don't ask how I know that. No, haven't been there or done that yet. Well, I've been on the other end of those transactions, but I've never been carried out on a litter, for example. Okay, it starts with your container, and think a little bit about this. You probably have some. You don't need to buy a kit, first off, let alone buy the container to put it all in. You can do that, but you'll probably want to kind of customize your kit depending on a bunch of things. And we'll get to all of that. I got it organized in a slightly different way, but we'll get to the actual components. But you want a kit that is small enough and easy to carry. And by carry, I mean maybe it's on your belt when you're just taking the dog for a run. And I take mine anywhere I can't see the truck. You know, I live on the edge of that big wide open spot there, National Forest. So when we're out there, there's nobody around. There's no roads. There's no other people. So you better be ready for that, even on a dog run. It also needs to fit into your hunting vest or your backpack if you're just going on a hike. Whatever it is, make it small enough, compact enough that you will actually carry it. So find a container, or better still, start the other way. Start pillaging your house, foraging in the garage, go back to the shop, or check out some of the retailers and get this stuff together yourself. Most of it you already have. Some of it you don't, but maybe you do, and you just haven't looked for a while. Oh my God, I found some water purification tablets from my Boy Scout days. I don't know if they ever go bad. Well, they were bad to begin with. You ever had to drink water from them made with that? Oh, you don't want it, believe me. But it's better than dying. Anyway, get this stuff together. You'll have a comprehensive packet that, with luck, you'll never have to use. Wouldn't that be great? All right, so here we go. And, I'll probably say them again, but I got to say them before I forget. Presuming you always have with you your cell phone, presuming it won't work sometimes, you should always be carrying one of those satellite emergency beacons. There's the Garmin InReach. There is the spot locator beacon, and there's probably a couple others now. I've seen some ads lately. Those are part of this kit as well. Fresh batteries and extra batteries, just in case. All right, with that in mind, staying dry and warm is probably the most important. Hypothermia can kill you even if the temperature never drops to freezing. And it'll get you faster if you're wet. So the first thing you want to do is lay in these essentials. Shelter. Sometimes it could be as simple as one of those heavy-duty garbage bags. You just cut a hole in the bottom, which becomes the top. You stick your head through that, and you're protected. Most of your body is protected, especially if you scrunch up inside it for the night. Heavy-duty, for obvious reasons. Sometimes, hey, if you got an uncle who works for the highway department, get an orange one. You can buy a bivy bag or a lightweight tarp. There's space blankets of all sorts. If you're getting the least expensive space blankets, ones that are folded up and rolled into that little thing about the size of your fist, well, once a year, open it up and check it. Because if that Mylar is too hot or too long stored, it'll come apart. You'll open up the packet, unroll it, and it's just a pile of shiny ribbon. So check your Mylar space blanket once in a while. All of those materials, all of those products will block the wind and the rain, so you're going to stay warmer. They'll retain your body heat. It won't just convect or radiate. It'll radiate out into the atmosphere, so you'll stay warmer. Number two, fire. There's nothing more comforting than a fire when you're lost, but it also keeps you warm and dry, or gets you warm and dry if you're wet and cold. The key to a survival kit, or 10 essentials, if you will, is to have two types. Warning, those cheap butane cigarette lighters often won't function when the temperature drops below freezing. A lot of good they do you. So get yourself a real windproof lighter of one sort or another. There's a bunch out there. And some waterproof old school matches in a waterproof case. Or I have one of those 21st century versions of flint and steel, so you can scrape sparks and light some tinder that way. Mine comes with little I think they're magnesium blocks. You scrape a few sparks onto that, and that'll burn underwater. So make sure you have that. And if you have, if you're so inclined, bring along a little bit of tinder, dryer lint, or like I said, those magnesium blocks. I'll also carry a candle stub. So you light the candle stub, you're saving your lighter fuel, and then light everything else from that candle. Okay, so you're warm and you're dry, and you are still hoping against hope that somebody's going to come find you, but at least you'll be somewhat comfortable until then. And I say hoping because there's a good chance you'll probably have to find your own way back. Most search and rescue operations take hours or even days before they're called out, especially if you didn't tell anybody exactly where you're going and when you're supposed to be back and when they're supposed to call somebody to find you. You're on your own, Daniel Boone. Depending on your situation, it might be best for you to hike your way out. Here's some things that will help you avoid the stumbles and head in the right direction. You got a GPS and probably your phone most times would make sense. But if you have a dedicated GPS, whether it's on your dog, handheld, or freestanding, always a good idea, especially if you have remembered to mark your starting point. Yeah. I'll never forget teaching that to crowds of people at sportsman shows, and the biggest problem most people had, the biggest gripe they would come up to me with afterward would be, I couldn't find my way back. And I said, did you mark your truck as the waypoint? So I know in the heat of battle, dogs, guns, friends, mark a waypoint right where you start. Pack extra batteries. And if you're using your phone, make sure you bring a power source of some sort or another. These days, phones are so good at that, sometimes they'll even work without a cell phone signal. If you are lost and lost for a while, you're going to be without light sources, so bring yourself a headlamp or a flashlight and extra batteries for those as well. And I don't care what else you're using on your GPS or on your phone, but a paper map and a compass and the skills to use them are still important. There will come a time when none of the technology is working for you. And I know some of those maps are pretty big. You could roll them up and sleep in them. So just take the piece you need. Make a photocopy of the 4 square miles you're going to be walking around in, and put that in your convenience kit along with a compass, and make sure you remember how to use your compass. Some of those same seminars back in the day, I would take a orienteering compass and throw it into the crowd and ask some flannel-clad, bearded guy to show me where north is on that compass. Odds were he showed me south. So learn how to use your compass along with your map, and you'll have a fail-safe direction-finding method. Phones break, they get lost, batteries go bad. You're up the proverbial creek without a paddle if that stuff happens. You're listening to an insider edition of the Upland Nation podcast. I'm Scott Linden. We're talking about your survival kit. Next on the agenda would be helping others find you. Yeah, quite often, not always, but quite often, the best thing to do is stand still. We used to tell kids, hug a tree, because it's often the right strategy for the he-men in the crowd as well. If somebody's hurt or sick, then somebody's got to stay with them. And if you're lucky, there's at least the two of you. All right, so what do you do next if you can't move around? Well, you need to make yourself visible. During the day, build a smoky fire. At night, build a bright blaze in an open spot. If weather is coming and you forgot the items we've talked about earlier, you're well and truly lost, and we would be faking it on your escape route, then these components will add a few ounces to your kit and add hope to what could be a dire situation. Are you carrying aluminum foil in your kit? Well, or a bona fide signaling mirror. The foil has other uses as well. You can use it to boil water or to cook or something like that. You can signal the National Guard helicopter or your search party if you know how to use a signaling mirror. Even if you don't, you can figure out enough of that to at least hopefully flash something at a chopper or at a ground search party. A whistle, yeah, a separate one from your dog whistle should be in your kit. A lot easier to hear a whistle than it is somebody screaming for help. And on day 2, you're not going to have much of a voice to scream with anyway. Save your voice for mumbling regrets if you didn't follow the rest of these instructions. I mentioned a personal locator beacon and extra batteries. Absolutely. By the way, practice with those things beforehand. Just in case, I add another ½ ounce to my kit by bringing the instructions along on my spot locator beacon. Bring along a pencil stub and some note paper so you can leave a note if you need to. If you're going to abandon your camp and you're going to walk west, tell somebody that. And if nothing else, you can draft your last will and testament if you forgot all the stuff on this list. Well, we're halfway through our 10 essentials. Don't count because there's more than 10. Your survival kit, your convenience kit, whatever it is. We'll be back, and the first thing we're going to talk about when we get back is making do and making camp. It's all coming up after a word from CableGangz. Yeah, dog stakeout systems, and boy, oh boy, are they nice. You may have one. You might have got it at a big box store. There's a lot of choices out there, but when you're ready to upgrade, go to CableGangz. CableGangz.com and take a look at all their points of difference. Cap weld is stronger. Bigger gap in the swivel sleeve so it doesn't stop swiveling when you hammer on it. The D-ring attachment is 1/4-inch steel plate welded to the tube so it doesn't fall off when you miss with your sledgehammer. All those things matter when you're out there in the field. And that's not when you want to learn your lesson the hard way. Take a look at all the choices when it comes to configurations for tie-outs, for all sorts of other force fetch systems, roding harnesses, even collars with personalized nameplates. It's all at CableGangz.com. And I can't wait to get back there. Heartland Lodge in Nebo, Illinois. You probably saw them on a Wing Shooting USA episode or 2. We're going back. I'm going to be hunting with, well, maybe you. Having a special residency out there at Heartland Lodge this year. If you want to learn more about that, go to heartlandlodge.com. Some of the most incredible grounds I've ever seen, from CRP to crops to creek bottoms to woodlots. Boy, the dogs have fun, whether they're yours or the guides. Great guides, top tier Orvis endorsed, shooting sportsman endorsed lodge. Yeah, bucket list worthy. Learn more. Get on the mailing list and find out what we're doing in late September at heartlandlodge.com. Welcome back to the Upland Nation podcast. I'm Scott Linden with an insider edition. We're talking in detail about your survival kit. What? You don't have one yet? Well, you will. Just think back on that one time when as Jim Bridger said, he wasn't lost, but he was mighty confused for 3 weeks. If that was you, then you need one of these kits. We're at the point where we're making do and making camp. If you're staying put, you want to get comfortable, safe, or maybe even fix a broken limb or two. Here are the things that you need to add to your kit. There is a light side and a dark side, but duct tape is something everybody needs to bring. Bandages. You can write a note and it won't blow away. You can fix gear. And if you got enough, not the right way to do it, but one of the best fire starters in the universe. Just wrap 5 feet of that tape around your pencil stub or your water bottle. It's always handy, and you will find infinite number of uses for it. You need to have something to make water safe. It could be those yucky tasting tablets. I think it's mainly iodine in those. Get yourself a newfangled filter or one of those ultraviolet light wand SteriPens. You can also boil it in that aluminum foil that you're bringing along as well. You want to be able to carry it, of course, so you need a bottle or a water bladder. In a real pinch, you could even use the aluminum foil, but not very far and for not very long. I like those bladder-style water bottles. They collapse. When they're empty, they're empty. When they're full, and there's no in-between. You know, it's always one or the other. They're easy to carry and pack. Consider something to carry your water in. I use paracord for any number of things. Carry 20 or 30 feet of that. You can lash together a shelter if you need to. You can make a bootlace out of it. If you're really creative, you can tease out some of the individual fibers and make fishing line. That's going a bit far, but you know what I mean. Paracord. A bandana. Just like my American Express card, I do not leave home without a bandana. And I mean the real deal. Don't buy it at your local 7-Eleven. Buy one at your feed store or, better still, your Western wear store. It'll serve as a bandage, a sling, an oven mitt, your first pass on a water filter, a headband, a dog leash. And also, you look like a pirate if you wear it right. Get one that's big enough and don't leave home without it. And finally, a multi-tool for, well, just about every other problem you'll face short of a grizzly attack. I have done any number of things with a multi-tool. I was debriefing a forest biologist once, and his name sounded kind of familiar, and he was helping me with a project. And at the end I said, "Are you that guy that I read about in that magazine?" He said, "Yeah." Okay, he was up there. They were doing something biological when the chopper failed. Something fell, broke, came loose, whatever. He climbed out far enough with his multi-tool to fix something somewhere up there and get them back safely to a landing spot. Well, you may not have to fix a helicopter, but you will find all sorts of other things. Your multi-tool will be just the ticket. You notice something that's missing? Yeah, don't worry about it. You can live 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without a Baby Ruth candy bar. Now, if you want to bring some, go ahead, but don't debit it against the kind of the sort of 1 pound survival kit rule that I've created today. Some easy ones from the good old days to now. Bouillon cubes. Look it up. You can still buy them. I still bring them. I'll never forget the first time somebody in our Boy Scout troop said, "What's that?" And I said, "Soup." He said, "What?" And hard candy is that thing, that everybody can suck on and be happy, and there's a little bit of energy in that simple carbohydrate. These days there's, high-tech versions of those as well, from gels to drinks. But you don't need food. You don't need fish hooks and lines, snare wire, all that stuff. If you're going to be lost for more than 3 days, then you're probably in bigger trouble than starvation. All right. I know it's a few more ounces than a pound. Not much, but it weighs less than your shotgun. You'll also want to customize it so that it fits your own needs. And I'm not talking here, for the record, your dog gets his own stuff. That's another story for another time. But customize your survival kit to your own needs. These basics will probably help get you out of a fix and maybe back to camp. Until you get there, you'll be safer, drier, better hydrated, while you ponder your regrets and wait for help. I know it won't be quite as satisfying if you're hoisted out by a chopper, but you'll still live to tell about it. And that's the key. Don't go away. I got one more thing to say. Don't do anything stupid. Before you go, tell someone where you're going and when you're supposed to be back. Mark it on a map. Because if you're like us, you fished 7 Deer Creeks and hunted 4 Grouse Mountains. Make a copy of your map and put a big X right where you're starting. Leave it with a responsible party and tell them when you'll check in and what they should do if you don't. All right. Avoid bucking snowdrifts on a mountain road. And I make a study of all the search and rescue call-outs that I can find. That's the dumbest one. People they're following Google Maps, and it's taking them uphill into snow, and they keep bucking snowdrifts as they go up. They're only going to get worse, and then you're going to get stuck. Cotton kills. First lecture I got from a search and rescue sergeant in our sheriff's department was, look at these pants, and he hung a pair of blue jeans with just the ankles in a bucket of water. By the end of the lecture, they were soaked through all the way up. Cotton wicks water and kills people because you'll die of hypothermia. Wear something else. Synthetic, breathable, wicking fabrics will keep you dry and alive. I know it's a little bit like a college lecture, but it's all about staying safe, having fun, and enjoying the great outdoors. If you're a bird hunter, you need to be as cognizant of that as every elk hunter, distance hiker, or special operator that you might have met. Be safe with my 1-pound survival kit. If you need all of that again, go to findbirdhuntingspots.com. There's a detailed version of that right there. I hope you're safe every time you go out. All right, thank you. If you appreciated that, please tell somebody, and do leave a rating at Apple Podcasts. Thanks to our sponsors, CableGangz, Stakeout Systems, Heartland Lodge in Nebo, Illinois, Mid-Valley Clays and Shooting School, TrueLock Choke Tubes, Purina Pro Plan Sport Dog Food, Sage and Breaker Gun Care Products, Roughland Dog Kennels, Pointer Shotguns, and High Vis Sights. We're always talking on the social media. Glad to hear from you there or anywhere else. I'm Scott Linden. Thanks for listening to the Insider Edition of the Upland Nation Podcast.